now faced isolation, her innocence questioned by everyone. Friends distanced themselves, afraid of being linked to her. The princess felt justified, believing that Mira's guilt was obvious. To her, the mystery was solved, but the reality was far from over. Suspicions, when spread without proof, become as destructive as truth. The princess's need for certainty had set in motion a chain of doubt. The palace had become a place of whispers and mistrust. Determined to confirm her belief, the princess ordered a thorough search of Mira's belongings. Servants turned her room upside down, going through her clothes, her personal items, her few cherished possessions, yet nothing was found. No jewel, no hidden stash, no clue pointing to guilt. But the princess's suspicion remained. She convinced herself Mira must have hidden it too well, ignoring the lack of any real proof. She was so focused on feeling right, she disregarded reason when emotions cloud judgment. Even lack of evidence can seem like a minor detail. But this need to be right was about to cost the princess dearly. Despite the accusations, Mira continued her duties with grace. She held her head high, serving the princess and palace with quiet dignity. Though deeply hurt, she hoped the truth would come to light. Other servants began noticing her humility, her continued loyalty. In the face of mistrust, watching Mira's quiet strength, they began to doubt the princess's claim. Could someone so faithful really be a thief? Mira's response was a silent yet powerful reminder. Innocence doesn't need to prove itself in times of unjust accusation. True strength lies in maintaining integrity. Mira's patience spoke louder than words. One day, as the princess sat in her chambers, a strange thing happened. A large bird flew through the open window, a majestic hawk that seemed oddly at ease in the room. It swooped down to the vanity, pecking at something glimmering in the corner. Startled, the princess walked over. Her heart skipped a beat. There, hidden in a small crack near the window, was her missing jewel. Somehow, it had slipped into the crevice, invisible to all. In an instant, she knew she had been wrong all along. Sometimes, fate reveals the truth, but often comes at a cost we don't anticipate. The princess stood frozen, guilt flooding her heart. She had wrongfully accused Mira, her most loyal servant, and her pride had blinded her from the start. She remembered Mira's hurt face, her unwavering loyalty, and her own hasty judgment. The princess felt the sting of regret, realizing that her need to blame someone had overshadowed her fairness. She knew now that mere words wouldn't make up for what Mira had endured, and an apology was long overdue. Realizing one's mistakes is hard, but taking responsibility is even harder, and the princess was about to take a step she'd never taken before. With a heavy heart, the princess approached Mira. Looking her in the eyes, "Mira," she began softly, "I was wrong. I should never have doubted you. Please forgive me." Mira, though wounded, looked back with kindness. "Your Highness," she said gently, "trust once broken takes time to rebuild. But humility heals." Moved by her forgiveness, the princess promised to be more thoughtful, vowing never to let pride cloud her trust again. Sometimes, forgiveness from those we wrong teaches us the most profound lessons. Mira's strength taught the princess more than she could have imagined. This story of the missing jewel reminds us of a simple truth. Quick judgments often lead to unjust consequences. In our rush to find answers, we sometimes create harm we can't take back. True wisdom lies in patience, in looking beyond appearances, and in holding on to trust when doubt creeps in. Next time you find yourself on the verge of judgment, remember the princess and her jewel. Look deeper and remember, the truth often lies in places we least expect. Thank you for joining this story. If you enjoyed it, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that inspire and enlighten. Until next time! Want to learn simple steps to meditate properly? Let's make it easy for you. Here's what you do. First, grab a mat and lay it on the floor. Now sit on it in Sukhasana, the simple cross-legged yoga pose. If you have an elevated cushion or platform, use it to sit just a little higher with your bottom elevated, but your feet stay grounded on the mat. This helps keep your back straight for a longer time without any strain. And hey, feel free to lean your back gently against the wall for extra support. If sitting on the floor isn't comfortable for you, no worries. Sit on a chair with back support. Just remember to keep your feet on the floor and, if possible, cross your legs gently. Crisscross your fingers, rest your hands near your belly, and find that cozy, natural position. Now, here's a small but important trick. Play some soft meditation audio on your phone or laptop. But remember, you don't need to focus on it actively. Let it be like calming background music. They're just to help you relax. When you meditate, thoughts will come and go. It's natural. Don't try to push them away, and don't get carried away there. Just let them be like clouds passing through the sky. If you find your thoughts are pulling you away, it's okay. Gently shift your attention to the music for a moment, then drift back into your meditation. The idea is to stay in the moment. Don't follow your thoughts. Don't even follow the music. Just be there. In as little as 15 minutes, you'll feel a shift. A sense of calm is washing over you. And if you find this helpful, save this video or share it with someone you care about. Let's spread a little more peace in the world. And of course, don't forget to follow or subscribe for more simple, life-changing tips. See you in the next one. Tonight, I want to tell you a story about two friends who once shared the same dreams until one of them turned those dreams into reality while the other watched his slip away. It's the story of Nick and Liam, a story of ambition and the painful price of waiting too long. Nick wasn't special, no wealth, no fancy connections, but he had grit. Every late night, every grueling setback, he faced it head on. He had a vision to build something meaningful, something that would leave his mark on the world. He knew it would demand everything he had. And he gave it. Nick wasn't just wishing, he was doing. Liam was a dreamer. He had big ideas, plans that would someday change everything. But someday never came. He talked about success like it was a distant prize waiting for him. But his days blended together, one maybe tomorrow after another. Deep down, he felt the weight of every day slipping by. But he told himself he'd start soon. As Nick struggled and built, Liam waited and dreamed. Nick faced failure after failure, but he didn't quit. Liam, he was afraid to even start, scared of the risks, terrified of falling short. Every year that passed, Liam lost something he could never get back: time, confidence, the chance to make his dreams real. Then, after years of struggle, Nick finally got his break. A major client took notice, saw the spark, the dedication. Nick's life changed in that instant. He'd earned it. His years of sacrifice and action had finally paid off. But for Liam, that moment hit like a storm. Hearing about Nick's success felt like a mirror, forcing him to confront his own choices. As he sat in the quiet of his empty apartment, he couldn't escape the truth. He wasn't just envious, he was crushed, haunted by every opportunity he's let pass. He knew in his heart that Nick had achieved what he'd only talked about, and the knowledge was like a weight he couldn't lift. That night, as Liam flipped through his old notebooks covered in dust, he felt the cold reality of what he'd done, or rather, what he hadn't done. Every empty page, every unfinished idea was a reminder of the life he's wasted dreaming instead of doing. His heart was heavy, weighed down by regret. He knew he couldn't reclaim those years that were gone, and so was the confidence he once had. In that moment, Liam realized something. He could stay in the cycle of regret and what-ifs, or he could choose to fight back, to reclaim whatever time he had left. With trembling hands and a racing heart, he opened his laptop, determined to finally chase what he'd always wanted. It was just a start, but for the first time, he felt a spark, the thrill of taking control. Liam knew it wouldn't be easy. He couldn't erase the past, but he could rewrite his future. He threw himself into his work, refusing to let regret be the end of his story. Every hurdle he faced now was a reminder of why he couldn't waste another second. It wasn't too late. He could still make it happen. The story of Nick and Liam isn't just a story of success or failure. It's a lesson for anyone holding on to someday. Life doesn't wait. Your dreams don't wait. Every day you put off action is a day closer to the life you'll never have. So stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for the fear to go away. You don't have forever. Start now. If you keep waiting, you'll wake up one day and realize your dreams are nothing more than memories of what could have been. Stop waiting. Make today count. Have you ever had a dream that everyone else thought was impossible? A goal so big, so far away, that people laugh just hearing about it? Today, let me tell you the story of a king who set his heart on something extraordinary, a distant mountain, hidden in the clouds, and his unwavering journey to reach it. The king was a man with a restless heart. Unlike most of his subjects, he dreamed of something beyond his kingdom. Every day, he would climb the highest tower in his palace and gaze at a distant mountain on the horizon. Its peak, hidden in clouds, had captivated him since he was a young prince. It wasn't just a mountain to him, it was his dream. He believed there was something incredible waiting for him there, something worth leaving his royal comforts behind for. One evening, the king gathered his ministers and advisors and shared his dream. But instead of encouragement, he was met with disbelief. Why waste your time chasing a faraway mountain? They scoffed. It's better to stay here, rule the kingdom, and live a comfortable life. They thought he was foolish, a king lost in his daydreams. But the king couldn't ignore the call of the mountain. His heart was set on it, and no amount of laughter or doubt could change his mind. The king knew this journey wouldn't be easy. He had little knowledge of what lay ahead, and many doubted his strength, but he had a determined heart. Over the next few days, he gathered the bare essentials: food, water, and a simple walking stick. At dawn one morning, he left his palace and his kingdom behind. The king was finally following his dream, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. He was stepping out toward the unknown. At first, every step felt like an adventure, but as days turned into weeks, the journey grew harder. The king faced hunger, harsh weather, and exhaustion. There were moments when he doubted himself, wondering if he'd ever reach his goal. The mountain seemed so far, and the path was filled with challenges he hadn't expected. Still, every time he thought of giving up, he looked up at the mountain in the distance, reminding himself why he had set out. His goal gave him strength and kept him going, one step at a time. One day, after a particularly tiring stretch, the king met an old man sitting by a shrine. The man greeted him kindly and asked, "Why do you travel this path so far from home?" The king replied, "I am heading to the mountain on the horizon. It has always been my dream to reach it." The old man smiled, saying, "The mountain is indeed beautiful, but remember, the path will test your spirit. You will need more than just strength. You'll need patience and resilience." And these words stayed with the king, strengthening his resolve as he continued on his journey. As the king continued, he passed through villages where he was tempted to stop and settle. In one village, a kind merchant offered him a job, promising a comfortable life. In another, a young woman suggested he could stay and live happily with her for a moment. The king considered it. The mountain was still so far, and the comforts of village life tempted him. But then he remembered his goal, the mountain that had called to him for so long. He knew he couldn't abandon his dream, even if the path was difficult. After months of walking, the king finally reached the